Welcome to the Asus UL30VT review. First, build quality and overall design. The UL30VT has a very good overall build quality and design. The top is brushed aluminum, the bottom is very hard black plastic, and the interior is gloss plastic. It looks nice, but it does fingerprint easily, as you can see by looking at the top. The system runs really cool and only really gets warm when you're doing benchmarks or gaming. As far as external ports go, you've got a VGA port, HDMI, USB on this side, nothing on the back, power, network, 2 USB, microphone, headphone, and SD card reader. And yeah, it does live up to the inch thin claim, maybe really close to an inch. It's pretty thin overall, I think. But overall, yeah, build quality is impressive. So what all's in the UL30VT hardware wise? Well, we've got a 1.3 GHz Core 2 Duo SU7300 ultra low voltage CPU, uses 10 watts of power. Now Asus overclocks this to 1.7, which gives a nice boost. 4 gigs of DDR3, 1066 MHz dual channel, and some of the stuff you probably couldn't find by just looking around on the internet. 500 gigabyte CD8 hard drive. It's got the GeForce 210M graphics card, and I believe it's an Intel 4500 for the integrated graphics. ICH9 South Bridge. The webcam's only 0.3 megapixels. As far as networking goes, it's got a Theros gigabit Ethernet and an Intel Wi-Fi Link 1000 BGN wireless card. This will also do Bluetooth, so that's a nice bonus. Don't really have anything else to add on the hardware. Those are just a couple things that might not be out there on the spec sheets, or at least this is what I received with my unit. The keyboard and touchpad. Well, the keyboard really looks kind of like a MacBook keyboard, honestly. Coming from this, I was using an EPC 701 before. The keyboard does have a real slight amount of flex in it, but it's not really noticeable. The touchpad took some getting used to. You notice it's got this sort of dimpled surface. It seemed to take a couple days to break in. I also turned up the mouse sensitivity in the control panel, which seemed to help out some. The touchpad also supports mouse gestures, which are really useful, but they take some time to get used to. Well, what can you do with mouse gestures? There's sort of a tap and click thing to click and drag. It does come up to be really handy in a web browser. So I can use 2 fingers to scroll. It will also scroll horizontally. You can sort of do a 2-finger click thing to middle click, which is great for opening new tabs, and you can also do a 3-finger touch to right click. And like I said, the touchpad takes some getting used to. Sometimes it's kind of tricky to get the right click going or to get the middle click going. Now the buttons themselves, they're kind of hard to press, but not terrible. I've really just been using the mouse gestures. So the touchpad isn't bad, but I think it takes some getting used to. So what about battery life? This is one of the most impressive aspects of this unit. This is a UL30VT X1, which shipped with a 4400 milliampere hour sized battery. Not the largest one available, so you may be able to get some additional capacity by upgrading down the road. Anyway, that'll give you about 10 hours of battery life, it seems like, on the most conservative power mode. But I'm going to cover two things here in relation to power conservation. First, you've got the graphics switching. You can just press this button and you can toggle between integrated and discrete graphics. I can switch it to integrated. It'll blank the screen and come back up, and just as quickly I can switch back to the dedicated GeForce card. So that's a nice feature. I think only takes a second to switch. Asus also has the Power 4-Gear program, which is their power management software, and you can use function and spacebar. It's got entertainment mode, quiet office mode, high performance mode, and battery saving mode. So I'm using function and spacebar to switch between those. On battery saving mode, if I dimmed the LCD, it would give me an estimate of about 10 hours. And once again, only takes a second to switch between the modes. And it's nice because it does all sorts of things, like it'll automatically switch you over to integrated graphics or back to dedicated graphics, so I think that program works fairly well. If you're wondering about networking in the UL30VT, you shouldn't have any problems. It's got Bluetooth, it's got a Theros gigabit Ethernet. I think I've hit about 40 megabytes per second over the gigabit on a wired connection. I heard some things about the UL30A possibly having wireless problems. Well, I've been going all around the house and I've been able to get a good signal just fine. Plus I'm able to pick up a few that are probably the neighbor's access points. So as far as wireless goes, I didn't have any problems. Just a couple quick things on the LCD. System's got a glossy LCD, 1366 by 768 resolution, 16:9 aspect ratio. It's pretty good quality. It's got an LED backlight. Only bad thing I can think of is sometimes the viewing angles aren't so great, but overall it's pretty good. I didn't get any bad pixels, so that's a plus.
MC Beatbox.